Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. Hey. Is this true? What's going on with that kid? So strong. Who is this kid? How could a little kid be able to fight so well with someone so much older than him? Could it be that the other party is giving him a pass? No. I've been watching here for a while. That kid has already fought with several people before. Although I can't believe it. This is incredible. It looks like we will have a basketball expert in Kanagawa in the future. Bang! 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 A fierce match is taking place in a baseball field. Originally, the confrontation on the baseball field was a very common thing. But the scene that took place in this baseball field today attracted everyone who passed by. I saw two figures, one big and one small, moving around in the baseball field. The big figure is about 16 or 17 years old, or even 17 or 18 years old, and seems to have a sense of maturity that only adults have. What is really amazing is the little boy who is competing against him. Yes, that little boy. The little boy has fair skin and is about the same height as other children of 6 or 7 years old, about 130 centimeters. Although he looks childish, he exudes a lively spirit. There is always a faint smile on the corner of his mouth, as if he is full of endless childishness and can smile brilliantly at any time. However, what is really weird is that his hair and eyes are completely different from others. They are both blue. The ink blue hair, under the reflection of the sunlight, sparkled with a strange and charming luster. And those blue eyes, like a quiet and deep pool, or like a bright gem inlaid in the night sky, exuding a unique charm. But what puzzles and amazes people the most is the determination and steadiness that occasionally emanates from his eyes. This kind of look should not appear on such a young child, and it formed a strong and strange sense of incongruity with his childish appearance. It is hard to imagine that the two people competing on the same stage have such a huge age difference. They look like the comparison between a giant and a dwarf. But it is precisely because of this that it attracts passers-by to stop and watch. The boy was dribbling the basketball, and suddenly he dodged and stopped, then jumped up and threw the ball into the basket. Bang! Brush! The basketball hit the backboard and bounced into the basket. It happened so suddenly that the big guy defending him had no time to react. Such swiftness and sudden stop, such smooth movements, there is no trace of the clumsiness of a 6 or 7-year-old child at all. The passers-by watching around also exclaimed in shock. The boy's serious face now showed a victorious smile. This was the fourth person he defeated today. As soon as he thought about it, a magical scene appeared before his eyes that only he could see. He saw an electronic panel appear in front of him, displaying a series of information. Name, Qing Junce. Age, 7 years old. Height, 131 cm. Weight, 36 kilograms. Character template, Aomine Daiki, 15%. Talented abilities, super speed dribbling, not awakened, formless shot, not awakened. Wildness, Black Panther, unawakened. Zone unawakened. Looking at the information on the panel, the boy felt a little emotional. It's been 7 years. His name is Qing Junce. This name was his name in his previous life and also his name in this life. It can also be said that this was his previous name and also his current name. He didn't know what his current situation was. He just opened his eyes and found himself as a newborn baby, surrounded by a group of strangers speaking a language he could not understand. He was not sure whether he had traveled through time or was reborn. Because the world he lives in now is a bit like the 1970s and 1980s of his previous life. All he knew was that he was currently in Kanagawa, Japan. It wasn't until he was 3 years old that his family bought him a basketball. The moment he touched the basketball, a system suddenly popped up in his mind. This made him both confused and delighted. When he saw the information on the system, he was stunned. Loading character template, Aomine Daiki. Loading progress. 1%. 5%. 10%. He knew Aomine Daiki. This is a character from the anime Kuroko's Basketball and is one of the generation of miracles. He only knew that he seemed to have merged with Aomine Daiki's template, and that was all. Since that day, nothing has happened except that the character template has some progress changes when the system touches the basketball. From then on, he didn't know why. It might be because of the system, or it might be because Aomine Daiki's character template had an impact on him. I started playing basketball without realizing it, and I still play it today. Ace. At this moment, a clear and pleasant female voice reached Qing Junce's ears. Qing Junce looked over when he heard the sound, and saw a little girl with long hair running towards him. She was wearing a turquoise dress, the color of which was just like the freshest new leaves in spring, or the shimmering waves on a quiet lake, gently wrapping her petite body. The hem of her skirt swayed gently in the breeze, like ripples on the blue waves, adding a bit of agility and playfulness to her. She looks extremely sweet, as if she is a porcelain doll carefully carved by God. Those big eyes are like the brightest stars in the night sky, bright and pure, crystal clear, as if hiding a bay of autumn water. Every twinkle seems to be telling of endless innocence and beauty. The thick eyelashes are like two small fans, fluttering with the purest curiosity and innocence in the world. Her short black hair seemed to be dyed by the night, but under the caress of the sun, it reflected a faint purple light, like a mysterious dreamy color, adding a bit of indescribable wonder and charm to her already sweet temperament. She is like an elf walking out of a fairy tale world, bringing with her innocence and beauty, accidentally breaking into this complicated world, but with her unique charm, she makes everything around her pale in comparison. The person who came was none other than Qing Junce's childhood sweetheart. The little girl's name is Kane Shimizu. The King Jun family and the Qing Shui family can be said to be old friends. The fathers of the two families opened a company together and they were also neighbors, so the relationship between the two families was very good and they often got together. Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan also knew each other since childhood. Because Qing Junce has been very opinionated since he was young, the little girl always follows him around. Every time Qing Junce came to the court to play, Shimizu Kanan would stand aside and watch quietly. Qing Shui Kanan said to Qing Junce with a sweet smile, "Ace, congratulations on defeating another opponent." Qing Junce wiped the sweat from his forehead, smiled as if it was a matter of course and said, "Of course, you know my strength." Cut. Qing Shui Kanan tutted, then stuck out her tongue at Qing Junce and said, "Arrogant, it's getting late, we should go back." Hearing this, Qing Junce said reluctantly, "But I haven't fought enough yet." Shimizu Kanan didn't care about that. She just took Qing Junce's arm and walked out of the baseball field. As she walked, she said, "You only know basketball. We're moving to Hokkaido next week. Don't you have anything to pack?" Hearing this, Qing Junce also remembered that they were going to move. Because both of my parents' companies needed to expand their business, the whole family had to move to Hokkaido. He actually forgot about this matter. Qing Junce scratched his head, then said, "I remember now, but I don't think I have anything to prepare." "No way." Shimizu Kanan rolled her eyes and didn't believe what Qing Junce said at all. She knew her childhood sweetheart so well that it seemed as if she knew nothing about anything other than basketball. This kind of thing happened more than once or twice, and every time she was worried to death. Although he also likes watching Qing Junce play basketball, life is not just about basketball. As the two of them walked out of the baseball field, everything in front of them suddenly blurred. A flash of red suddenly flashed before their eyes. At the same time, a voice was heard by both of them. "Damn you, hey, you actually left me alone and ran away. I will never forgive you this time." The sound gradually faded away until it disappeared. Qing Junce looked at the direction where the red color disappeared with some curiosity, muttering in his heart, "The guy who just flashed by seemed to have red hair. Did Neon start dyeing his hair when he was so young? Hey? How strange, there is actually someone like Ace whose hair color is different from others. It's red, which is really rare. Qing Junce suddenly stopped in his tracks at the sudden words of Shimizu Kanon. What's wrong? Feeling Qing Junce stopped, Shimizu Kanon asked curiously. Qing Junce did not reply to her words, but fell into deep thought. Red hair, yohei. He frowned slightly, feeling that this seemed somewhat familiar. Red hair, yohei. Qing Junce murmured softly. When Shimizu Kanon, who was standing by, saw Qing Junce's appearance, her head was full of question marks. She stretched out her little hand and put it on Qing Junce's forehead, then said, "Did you become stupid from playing basketball? Play basketball? Red hair? Yohei?" Suddenly, Qing Junce's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. A picture suddenly flashed through his mind. That was an anime he watched in his previous life. Is this the world of Slam Dunk? The red-haired guy who just flashed by, could it be Sakuragi Hanamichi? Could the yohei he was talking about be Mito yohei? Think about the era I live in now. The more I think about it, the more likely it becomes. The next moment, Qing Junce grabbed Shimizu Kanon's hand and ran towards home. When Qing Junce suddenly held her hand, Shimizu Kanon's pretty face couldn't help but blush. Soon, the two disappeared at the end of the street. Chapter 2. Time flies. 9 years later. Since that day, Qing Junce's family and Shimizu Kanon's family moved to Hokkaido together. This move took 9 years. Today, a plane landed at Kanagawa Airport. Soon, a boy and a girl walked out of the airport together. The man has a handsome face, a straight nose, clear facial contours and strong lines, giving people a feeling of determination. The most eye-catching thing is his deep blue eyes and fluffy blue short hair, which always give people a sense of casualness and uninhibited confidence. On the surface, he looked listless and lazy. But when his eyes swept over, the innate sense of wild oppression spread out like a substance, like a sleeping beast, which made people dare not approach, but could not help being fascinated by it. He just stood there, as if out of tune with the world around him, yet exuding a unique charm, becoming one of the focuses of the entire world. Another focus is the girl standing next to the man. The girl is wearing a pink t-shirt and a pair of blue tight jeans. The combination of the pink quietness and the blue vitality creates a youthful atmosphere unique to this age. Her exposed skin was fair and smooth, just like the finest mutton fat jade. Under the caress of the sunlight, it seemed as if covered with a layer of gauze, emitting a soft halo. Her long black hair fell behind her head like a waterfall, and under the sunlight, it could faintly shine with a strange purple glow. The most enchanting thing is her pair of gem-like black and purple eyes. Every moment her eyes move, they exude charming charm. Anyone who looks at them will be instantly addicted to them and unable to extricate themselves. I don't know how many people's attention this scene attracted. The man and woman were Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon, who returned from Hokkaido after 9 years. During these 9 years, the two of them have completely changed their appearance. The childishness of childhood is gone, but what is left is the perseverance and maturity that is gradually revealed under the baptism of time. I'm finally back. Shimizu Kanon said with some emotion as she smelled the scent of Kanagawa. Qing Junce also had a faint smile on his face. He has been certain of one thing during these 9 years. He consulted a lot of information and finally determined the world he was in. He bought many basketball-related magazines and newspapers and looked up many names he remembered. Mitsuyoshi Anzai, Riki Takato, Dakamoiki. There are also some colleges and universities in Kanagawa. Shohoku, Ryonan, Shoyo, Kanon. All of these are characters and schools from Slam Dunk. At this point, Qing Junce finally confirmed that he was in the world of Slam Dunk. During the 9 years in Hokkaido, Qing Junce did not join the basketball clubs in elementary and junior high school. The reason is very simple. because when he was in elementary school, he wanted to join the basketball club. However, when taking the entrance test, he showed his strength and defeated all the opposing players in a 1v5 match. The test hadn't ended yet when the 5 players on the opposing team started crying and wailing, disturbing the entire basketball arena. Qing Junce really couldn't stand that kind of environment and decisively gave up joining the club. But he didn't give up basketball, he just changed his way. During these 9 years, Qing Junce often played on baseball fields in Hokkaido and competed with all kinds of people, regardless of age, and always won in the end. At the same time, with the training and growth of each game, the integration progress of Aomine Daiki character template is also rising rapidly. Name, Qing Junce. Age, 16. Height, 192 cm. Weight, 85 kilograms. Character template, Aomine Daiki, 99%. Talented abilities, superspeed dribbling, awakened, formless shot, awakened. Wildness, Black Panther, awakened. Zone, semi-awakening. It can be said that Qing Junce is now basically Aomine Daiki herself. Qing Junce, like Aomine Daiki, also blossomed in the second year of junior high school. I just don't know why, the progress stopped growing after reaching 99%. He also had some guesses. When the progress reaches 100%, you should be able to enter the zone at will. But he tried many methods for this step, but all ended in failure. Ace, have you decided which high school to go to? Asked Shimizu Kanon. Qing Junce's eyes flashed with an imperceptible light, and he said, well, I decided to go to Shohoku High School. Hey! Shohoku? Never heard of it. A thoughtful look appeared on Shimizu Kanon's face. Qing Junce replied, it's a public school, it's quite old. Is that so? Shimizu Kanon thought for a moment, then said, then I'll choose the same high school as you. You're a mess in everything except basketball, and you can't live without someone to take care of you. Cut. Qing Junce snorted and said with a curled mouth, whatever you want. I chose Shohoku High School not because I wanted to reminisce about something, but simply because it is relatively familiar to me. Of course, the most important point is that it is close to home. Now Qing Junce's personality can be said to have completely inherited Aomine Daiki. Lazy, listless, and not interested in anything. However, he was not so immature as to think that he was the only one who could defeat him. Although he felt that this might be true, he instinctively resisted the idea in his heart. Maybe this is why the progress has been stuck at 99%. The next day, in front of the gate of Shohoku High School, there was a constant flow of people coming and going, men and women, all students wearing Shohoku High School uniforms. This is Shohoku High School. Although it looks a little old, it feels pretty good. Shimizu Kanon looked at the campus in front of her and nodded with satisfaction. Qing Junce didn't say anything, but walked straight into the school gate. Ace, wait for me. When Shimizu Kanon saw that Qing Junce didn't wait for her, she immediately trotted after him. Qing Junce did not stop, but said lazily, Huanyan, you are too slow. At the same time, in the classroom of Class 7, Grade 1 in the teaching building, a red-haired boy was sitting in his seat, looking out the window listlessly, with an expression as if something outside the window hurt his heart. Surrounding him were 4 strange-looking people. The reason why they are said to be strange in appearance is that these 4 people have their own unique looks. A short fat man with a big belly. A slightly tall, thin man with yellow hair. A mature-looking, middle-aged man with a mustache. The last one looks relatively normal, with a handsome face and slicked back hair. The 4 of them surrounded the red-haired boy who was sitting there and started teasing him. Hey! Sakuragi Hanamichi, cheer up, there's nothing great about the basketball team. That's what I mean. You just got dumped 50 times, it's no big deal. Yes, that's right. We are in high school now. We can start over again. I believe you will continue to break your records. Ha 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 ha. Several people were joking around while scattering flowers, blowing trumpets and holding banners. I don't know how they got these things out. The red-haired boy sitting in the middle, called Sakuragi Hanamichi, couldn't stand what these people said, so he stood up and hit all the people surrounding him with his head. Bang! 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 4 dull sounds were heard, and 4 people with white smoke and red spots on their foreheads appeared on the ground. This scene happened to be seen by Junce, who came to the classroom door. Is this Sakuragi Hanamichi and the members of Sakuragi's gang? The fat guy with glasses must be Nozomi Takamiya. What's the name of the blonde guy? I think his name is Yuji. There was also that guy who looked like an uncle, I forgot his name. The last one is pretty good looking, this one should be Mito Yohei. Looking at the characters who seemed familiar to him in his memory, Junce had an indescribable sense of weirdness. As if sensing something, Sakuragi Hanamichi turned his gaze towards Junce, who was standing at the door. The two looked at each other from a distance, and it seemed as if a flash of lightning appeared out of nowhere between them and then intertwined with each other. Sakuragi Hanamichi looked at Junce with a bad face and said, "What are you looking at there? Do you want to fight?" He sensed a deadly danger from Junce. This was something he had never felt before. It was like there was a bloodthirsty beast in front of him that could take his life at any time. Junce ignored this guy. He looked up at the class number. He remembered that his class seemed to be class 6, grade 1, which happened to be the class next door. Ace. Just then, Shimizu Kanon ran over, took Junce's hand and said, "What are you doing standing here? Our class is in front." Pulled by Shimizu Kanon, Junce also withdrew his gaze from Sakuragi Hanamichi and left. Seeing Junce being pulled away by a super cute girl, Sakuragi Hanamichi's eyes were filled with jealousy that was about to overflow. He gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, "Damn it! Why do other people have such cute girls, but I am always rejected?" Sakuragi Hanamichi, calm down. That person just now is not simple. At this moment, Mito Yohei, who was lying on the ground, stood up and quickly stopped Sakuragi Hanamichi. He also felt the deadly danger from Junce. He didn't want Sakuragi Hanamichi to get into trouble in a fit of anger. Chapter 3. Shohoku High School Teaching Building. Classroom for Grade 6, Grade 1. As soon as Junce and Shimizu Kanon entered the classroom, the previously noisy classroom suddenly fell into an eerie silence. Everyone's attention was attracted by Junce and Shimizu Kanon. The boys' eyes naturally fell on Shimizu Kanon. Wow, so beautiful. How can there be such a beautiful and cute girl? Oh my god! Have I come to heaven? I'm already deeply attracted to her. I wonder if she has a boyfriend. The girl's eyes were on Junce. Wow, so handsome. How can there be such a handsome boy? Tall and handsome, so safe. Oh my god! I'm already mesmerized by his handsomeness. I've decided. I want to be his girlfriend. The appearance of Junce and Shimizu Kanon completely attracted all the boys and girls in the class. However, when they saw Junce and Shimizu Kanon coming in hand, they all showed envy, jealousy, and hatred in their eyes. The boys were naturally targeting Junce. The girls were naturally targeting Shimizu Kanon. Junce didn't even look at the other people in the class, he just found an empty seat and sat down. Shimizu Kanon also sat in the empty seat next to Junce. Several boys at the back of the class looked at each other, wanting to step forward and show their face in front of Junce. However, the power emanating from Junce made them feel fearful and they were hesitant to step forward. The sense of oppression from Junce was so strong that not only the boys who wanted to cause trouble, but even the girls who wanted to approach and chat with him kept their distance, even though their eyes had turned into peach Hanagata shapes. For a moment, the atmosphere in the classroom fell into a strange harmony. Shimizu Kanon naturally felt the gazes of the people around her and their fear of Qing Junce. This wasn't the first time she had encountered such a thing. I don't know whether Qing Junce did it on purpose or unintentionally. Don't you want to be disturbed by others? As she thought about this, the corners of her mouth rose slightly without any expression. Soon, the head teacher walked into the classroom. Because today was the first day of school, the head teacher only asked everyone to introduce themselves. Qing Junce had no idea what happened after that. He didn't know when he closed his eyes and began to doze off. I don't know how long it was before the corridor outside the classroom started to become noisy. Qing Junce was awakened by the noisy sound and slowly opened his eyes. The noise outside the classroom also came in very clearly. Hey! Hurry up! Hurry up! Come quickly, come quickly! What's going on? Someone wants to challenge me in a one-on-one duel. A one-on-one duel. There's a good show going on in the gym right now. Someone is going to play basketball with the captain of the basketball team. I heard that he's a freshman this year, and he has red hair. After hearing this, Qing Junce roughly understood what was going on. This seems to be the case in the original book. Ace, it looks like someone is going to play a basketball game. Let's go and watch together. Shimizu Kanon suggested. Qing Junce looked uninterested and said lazily, I don't want to. What's so interesting about that kind of competition? Let's go. Let's go. Don't you want to join the basketball club? It's a good opportunity to take a look at the level of our school's basketball club. Shimizu Kanon said, and pulled Qing Junce's arm and walked out. Qing Junce was also helpless and could only let Shimizu Kanon pull him towards the gymnasium. Shohoku High School Basketball Hall. The place was already crowded with people at this time. When Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon arrived, the game in the venue had already started for a while. Ah! It's already started. Really, it's all your fault. Ace said. Shimizu Kanon said with some blame. Qing Junce half closed his eyes and selectively filtered out Shimizu Kanon's words. Seeing him like this, Shimizu Kanon couldn't even get angry. She didn't know how many times she had experienced this kind of thing. Snort. She snorted softly, then focused her attention on the game on the field. At this moment, on the basketball court, two figures were engaged in a fierce confrontation. One of them was the red-haired boy Qing Junce had met before, Sakuragi Hanamichi. The other one had a rough and resolute face, dark skin, and strong, bulging muscles visible from his exposed arms. Qing Junce looked at this person and muttered to himself, this person must be Akagi Takenori. With this appearance, no wonder Sakuragi Hanamichi called him a gorilla. On the court, Akagi Takenori dribbled past Sakuragi Hanamichi. Sakuragi Hanamichi was chasing after him desperately. Seeing Sakuragi Hanamichi approaching Akagi Takenori quickly, Shimizu Kanon was also surprised and said, Wow! He runs so fast, Ace, look, there is actually someone who is almost catching up with you. Qing Junce curled his lips and said with disdain, he is still far from it. Seeing Qing Junce like this, Shimizu Kanon was also very helpless. She didn't know since when, her childhood sweetheart became lazy, as if he had lost his former interest in basketball and no longer had the drive he had as a child. Bang! At this moment, a deafening noise suddenly sounded. Everyone's attention was attracted by the loud noise. Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon also looked in the direction where the sound came from. Then I saw a disgusting scene. Ah! After a moment of stunned silence, Shimizu Kanon screamed and quickly covered her eyes. Qing Junce's mouth twitched as well, unable to bear to look directly at it. I saw that at this moment on the court. Sakuragi Hanamichi and Akagi Takenori are both defeated. The loud noise just now was caused by the two people falling down. But that's not the point. At this time, Akagi Takenori's pants were off, revealing his white, oh, no, it should be his dark buttocks that were exposed. In broad daylight, spring is here. The stadium suddenly fell into an eerie silence. Soon, after the silence, there were bursts of laughter that broke through the sky. Everyone couldn't help but burst into laughter. After the laughter died down, the showdown resumed on the court. The following plot is similar to the original. Sakuragi Hanamichi used a trick and beat Akagi Take Nori with a dunk. Sakuragi Hanamika's final human wall defense was still somewhat bright. In that situation, if it was Qing Junce, there would be some solutions, but it would still take some effort. Sakuragi Hanamichi is still too young now. Qing Junce had no interest in continuing to watch, so he turned around and left. Let's go, Hanaine. Ace. Seeing Qing Junce leave, Shimizu Kanon glanced at Sakuragi Hanamichi and Akagi Take Nori who had finished their duel off the court, then turned around and chased after them. When walking out of the stadium, Shimizu Kanon also caught up with Qing Junce. She asked, "How is it? What's going on?" Qing Junce was puzzled. Shimizu Kanon analyzed, "It's the basketball club. The captain of the basketball club is quite capable, but I don't know how capable the other members of the basketball club are. But I heard that Shohoku's basketball team was eliminated in the first round last year, so I think the other members of the basketball club may not be as good as expected." Qing Junce said with an indifferent expression, "It doesn't matter. I won't count on them anyway." "That won't work. Now that you've joined the basketball team, you have to get along well with your teammates," Shimizu Kanon said earnestly. Qing Junce scratched his ears, then said impatiently, "I know." A strange smile appeared on the corner of Shimizu Kanon's mouth, and then she said, "By the way, Ace, I have submitted your application for joining the club for you." Qing Junce. Chapter 4. After school. Basketball Club. At this time in the basketball club, Akagi Take Nori was sorting some documents. These documents are all new applications for admission to the ministry that were submitted today. As the captain of the basketball team, he naturally needs to understand the information of the new members. Next to him was a quiet-looking boy wearing round glasses. The boy's name is Kagure Kiminobu, and he is the vice-captain of the Shohoku basketball club. As the vice-captain, he naturally also participated in the work of sorting out the information of new players. "There are more new members this year than last year," said Kagure Kiminobu. Akagi Take Nori snorted, "What's the use of having more? We have to see how many people are left in the end. I don't want people who are impatient." Kagure Kiminobu pushed his glasses and said helplessly, "Don't be so serious all the time. Akagi, it's okay to relax a little." Akagi Take Nori said solemnly, "If someone cheats even during training, there is no way he can make it to the national competition." Kagure Kiminobu reminded, "I think the guy you're playing against today is pretty good. I remember his name is Sakuragi Hanamichi." As he said that, he began to look for Sakuragi Hanamika's application form. But no matter how hard he looked, he couldn't find it. Strange, didn't he submit an application? Akagi Take Nori snorted, "I've already lost him. I won't let such a arrogant guy join the basketball team." Kagure Kiminobu twitched his lips, thinking of Sakuragi Hanamika's performance today. He said, "Sakuragi Hanamichi just has no contact with basketball. He is really talented. It would be a pity to give up on him. I think we should give him a chance." Akagi Take Nori didn't say anything, and no one knew what he was thinking. At this moment, Akagi Tekinori's attention was attracted by the application form in his hand. "What's wrong?" Noticing Akagi Tekinori's expression, Kagure Kiminobu asked. Akagi Take Nori said, "Qing Junce, 192 centimeters tall, good height, but I don't know how strong he is." Hearing this, Kagure Kiminobu immediately became excited. 192 centimeters, so, including you and Sakuragi, there are 3 people in our basketball team who are taller than 180 centimeters. Akagi Take Nori said, Kaed Rukawa from Toyjaka Junior High School will also join us this year. This time we must compete for the national championship. Hey? Kagure Kiminobu picked up an application form and said curiously, there's actually another girl here who applied to join the basketball club. She's applying to be the manager. Let me see. Shimizu Kanan, hey. Is there something wrong? Akagi Takenori asked. Kagure Kiminobu looked at the application form in his hand with a strange expression on his face. The reason for joining the club, to take care of a lazy idiot. Huh? For a moment, the basketball team fell into an eerie silence. The next day. Shohoku High School Basketball Gymnasium. At this time, on the court inside the gym, the newly joined first-year students were already standing in a row. Akagi Takenori stood in front of everyone and said loudly, I am the captain of the basketball team, Akagi Takenori. Okay, now you can introduce yourselves. First grade, first class, Ishitaro, height 172 centimeters, weight 65 kilograms, best position is point guard. Class 5, grade 1, Ken Suzuki, 165 centimeters tall, 66 kilograms, best position is small forward. Class 4, grade 1, Masahiko Ishioka, 179 centimeters tall, 70 kilograms in weight, good at playing center. Class 4, grade 1, Kuwatajiro, height 162 centimeters, weight 50 kilograms, graduated from junior high school, played small forward in junior high school, please give me your guidance. While listening to the introduction of the new team members, Akagi Takenori was also writing something in a notebook with a pen. Soon, it was the next person's turn to introduce themselves. This man had black hair and a cold and calm look, as if he didn't take anyone seriously. He spoke directly, first year, 10th class, Kaed Rukawa, height 187 centimeters, weight 75 kilograms, graduated from Toyjaka Junior High School, no fixed position. After hearing his introduction, the second and third grade players who were watching nearby started talking about it. He's the super rookie Kaed Rukawa. Can he play in every position? He is the MVP of the junior high school. His strength is obvious. Akagi Takenori looked at Kaed Rukawa and said, Hey! Kaed Rukawa, what are your hobbies? Hearing this, Kaed Rukawa crossed his chest with one hand, touched his chin with the other, and said thoughtfully, Hobbies, probably sleeping. Puff. Hearing him say this, Sakuragi Hanamichi couldn't help but covered his mouth and laughed. He pointed at Kaed Rukawa and laughed, Ha ha ha, sleeping is also a hobby. Did you all hear that? Sleeping is his hobby. This kind of person is so boring. No wonder he has such a blank expression on his face. Akagi Takenori interrupted directly, got it, next one. Hearing this, Sakuragi Hanamichi immediately stood up straight, then took a step forward, took a deep breath, and said seriously, I am Sakuragi Hanamichi, graduated from Wako Junior High School, 188 centimeters tall, 83 kilograms in weight, and my hobby is... Okay, move on, next one. Akagi Takenori interrupted him rudely. Sakuragi Hanamichi's face turned red after being interrupted, but he didn't dare to say anything. He could only secretly curse Akagi Takenori in his heart. There was no news about Sakuragi Hanamichi after that. Akagi Takenori frowned as he looked at the information in his hand. He looked up and found that there was no one after Sakuragi Hanamichi, so he frowned and said, What's going on? Is there no one? Kagure Kiminobu, who was standing nearby, said, Sakuragi Hanamichi is the last one. Akagi Takenori looked down at the information in his hand and said, Qing Junce didn't come. Speaking of Qing Junce, Kagure Kiminobu also remembered that when he was checking the application form for admission yesterday, he seemed to have mentioned such a person. He said, You mean the one who is over 190 centimeters tall? It looks like she didn't come. And the girl who applied to be a manager hasn't come either. As he said this, he was thinking about the reason for not applying that he had seen yesterday. The expression on his face gradually became strange, and he thought to himself, could it be that idiot who likes shooting is the Qing Junce who didn't come? He didn't come because he was lazy. Akagi Tekinori's face didn't look very good. He had no liking for such unpunctual people, so he said in a slightly low voice, he is late on the first day of registration. I will never let such a guy join the basketball team. I'm sorry, I'm late. At this moment, a female voice suddenly came into everyone's ears. Akagi Takenori couldn't help but twitch his eyes. He had just said that he didn't like people who were late, but he was slapped in the face in the instant. Everyone looked over when they heard the sound. I saw that there was a girl in a single room with a medical kit at the entrance of the stadium. She wore a yellow and purple sun hat, a loose pink t-shirt that was casual and natural, and blue tight shorts that perfectly outlined her slender legs, showing the vitality and vigor that are unique to girls. The facial features under the brim of the hat are as delicate as a painting, the eyebrows are as dark as distant ink, and the curved arc is just like the willow leaves swaying in the wind in spring, showing her gentleness. A pair of big eyes are like clear lake water, bright and dazzling under the sunlight. Her long eyelashes were like two delicate little fans, trembling slightly with every blink of her eyes, adding a bit of playfulness and agility to her eyes. The high nose bridge is like an elegant peak, perfectly located in the center of the face, making the entire facial contour more three-dimensional. And those slightly plump lips, like delicate and beautiful rose petals, are naturally rosy, as if containing endless sweetness and tenderness. The long hair hanging down on both sides of her forehead has natural curls, like waves gently blown by the breeze, adding a charming touch to her overall image. The person who came was Ayako Inu, the manager of the Shohoku basketball club. Inu Ayako continued, I'm the manager of the team, Ayako, and I'm a second-year student at Shohoku. Please give me your guidance. As she spoke, she came to the new team members, patted their shoulders, and said in a carefree manner, what's wrong with you? Why are you all so timid? I have already greeted you, why don't you say hello to me? Being approached by her in such an impolite manner, some of the shy freshmen blushed and lowered their heads, looking embarrassed. Akagi Takenori said at this time, okay, before we start practicing, I have to tell you one thing. Our goal this year is to compete for the national championship, so you must undergo strict training, understand? At the same time. At this moment, a man walked into the basketball hall. He had white hair that matched his eyebrows and a pair of glasses on his nose. Wearing a bright yellow top and emerald green trousers, her figure is very round, just like a rolling ball. There was always a kind and gentle smile on his lips, as warm as the spring breeze. However, occasionally, a glimmer of wisdom would flash in his eyes. This person's name is Mitsuyoshi Anze, and he is the coach of the Shohoku basketball team. You have already started. Mitsuyoshi Anze said slowly while looking at everyone in the stadium. Everyone came over upon hearing the sound. When Akagi Takenori, Kagure Kiminobu and other senior students saw the newcomer, they all said in a serious tone, Coach Anze. The freshmen all looked towards Mitsuyoshi Anze with surprise and curiosity. Akagi Takenori then said, Coach Anze, these are the new members who joined the club this year. Please give them your guidance. Oh ho ho ho. Coach Anze let out a series of strange laughs, then said, then let's play a practice match first. Chapter 5. In the classroom of Class 6, Grade 1. Ace, hurry up. Being late on the first day will leave a bad impression on others. Shimizu Kanon said, pulling Qing Junce's arm. Ahaha. Qing Junce yawned and said lazily, ah. I know. Shimizu Kanon said with a complaining look on her face, really? It's all because of you that I'm late too. Qing Junce replied disapprovingly, what does it matter? How dare you say that? Shimizu Kanon punched Qing Junce angrily, then pulled Qing Junce towards the basketball hall. Soon, Qing Junce and the other person finally arrived at the basketball hall. As soon as the two walked into the basketball hall, they saw a group of freshmen and seniors playing a game. It looks like it has already started. Seeing the scene in the stadium, Shimizu Kanon let out a long breath. Qing Junce glanced at the people playing on the court. At this moment, it was Kaed Rukawa who was charging onto the court with the ball. Kaed Rukawa dribbled the ball quickly, dodged left and right, and made fake moves to pass the opponent. His series of movements were smooth and flowing, and his performance was very pleasing to the eye. Qing Junce glanced at the others again, then looked away. Honestly speaking, he was speechless at the strength Shohoku was showing right now. Weak, really too weak. Only Akagi Takenori and Kaed Rukawa on the field were worthy of his attention, but they were just worth watching. Others are simply. Shimizu Kanon pulled Qing Junce to the sidelines and came to Ayako who was teaching Sakuragi Hanamichi, and said, "Sorry, we are late. I am Shimizu Kanon who applied to join the basketball club." As she spoke, she pulled Qing Junce in front of her, and then continued, "And his name is Qing Junce, and he is also a new student who applied to join the club." Ayako looked at the two people who suddenly appeared in front of her, with a confused look on her face. She looked at Shimizu Kanon who looked apologetic, and then looked at Qing Junce who was standing aside, looking lazy, yawning, and about to fall asleep. Before she could say anything, Sakuragi Hanamichi, who was practicing hitting the ball nearby, pointed at Qing Junce and said, "Ah, it's you. Why are you here?" Qing Junce glanced at him, then said calmly, "You are here, why can't I be here?" "A-hole, what did you say?" Sakuragi Hanamichi's forehead was bulging with veins, and he was very angry about Qing Junce's words. "Do you know each other?" Ayako asked curiously. Qing Junce and Sakuragi Hanamichi said in unison. "Qing Junce, I don't know him." Sakuragi Hanamichi, who knows this guy? Ayako blinked, looked at Sakuragi Hanamichi, then at Shimizu Kanon and Qing Junce. Finally, she said helplessly, "Everyone is still competing, please sit down and wait for a while." Upon hearing this, Shimizu Kanon nodded, then pulled Qing Junce to sit on a bench nearby. Mitsuyoshi Anzai standing by remained silent. He noticed it when Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon walked in. His eyes were deeply attracted by Qing Junce. He could feel the vague sense of oppression from Qing Junce even when he was sitting here, which surprised him greatly. It was the first time he had seen such a person. He was enveloped in a wild aura, like a sleeping beast. The game on the field soon reached half-time. At this moment, everyone realized that there were two more people in the stadium. At just one glance, everyone was attracted by Shimizu Kana's appearance. Good figure, good face, good temperament, I really want. No matter they were freshmen or sophomores or juniors, their eyes were all wide open. So beautiful, so pretty, so pretty. However, two people's eyes were on Qing Junce. Akagi Takenori himself has a determination that is unmatched by ordinary people. The reason why he paid attention to Qing Junce was because he felt something extraordinary from Qing Junce. This made him instinctively feel that Qing Junce was not an ordinary person. Kaed Rukawa's feelings were even more direct. Like Sakuragi Hanamichi, he felt a huge threat from Qing Junce. He had never felt this way before. Strong. This was Qing Junce's first impression on him. As soon as Akagi Takenori walked off the court, Ayako began to introduce him to Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon. "This is the captain of our basketball team, Akagi Takenori." Upon hearing this, Shimizu Kanon immediately stood up, bowed slightly to Akagi Takenori, and then said apologetically, "Captain Akagi, I'm very sorry that I'm late on the first day. Please forgive me. I'm Shimizu Kanon, and I want to apply to be the manager of the basketball club." Akagi Takenori listened to Shimizu Kanon's sincere apology and nodded with satisfaction to Shimizu Kanon. Nice girl, very polite. He then looked at Junce who was sitting lazily on the side, and his face immediately darkened. At this moment, Junce looked like he was about to fall asleep, and it looked like he would fall asleep soon. Noticing Akagi Tekanori's gaze, Shimizu Kanon immediately pulled up Junce, then said with a wry smile, "This guy is with me, his name is Junce, and he also wants to join the basketball club. You said you wanted to take care of a lazy idiot, so it was him." At this moment, Kagure Kiminobu suddenly spoke. "Ah?" Junce looked at him in confusion. "What lazy idiot?" Shimizu Kanon immediately interrupted, "Ah. That's not important. We still need Captain Akagi's approval for our application to join the club." Akagi Takenori looked at Shimizu Kanon and Junce in front of him. He didn't have any problem with Shimizu Kanon, but he had a lot of problems with Junce. He frowned, and was very dissatisfied to see Junce being so lazy. Can such a person play basketball? Kagure Kiminobu seemed to have seen through Akagi Tekanori's thoughts and immediately stepped forward and said, Okay, since you are joining the basketball club, of course we welcome you." As he spoke, he whispered to Akagi Takenori, "Now that he's here, we can't chase him away, right? Let him try. It's not a bad thing to have another tall guy in the team." Snort. Hearing his words, Akagi Takenori turned his head and snorted, and said reluctantly, "Let's do it this way for now. We are in the process of a practice match, and this guy." As he said that, he looked at Junce. The meaning is also very obvious. Shimizu Kanon naturally understood what Akagi Takenori meant, and immediately said, "Junce is a very good player, don't worry." "Really?" Akagi Takenori was skeptical. However, since Shimizu Kanon said so, he didn't say anything else. Anyway, Junce's height is indeed good. As long as the opponent has a basic understanding of basketball, it can also enhance the team's strength. The average height of the current team is really ho ho ho. Mitsuyoshi Anze, who had been silent the whole time, said, "Your name is Junce. How long have you been playing basketball?" Hearing this, Junce thought for a moment, then casually replied, "More than 10 years. What the hell? More than 10 years? When the people around heard this, they all looked at Junce with strange expressions. There is doubt, scrutiny, and disbelief. At this time, Sakuragi Hanamichi could not help but said, "More than 10 years? You are bragging. I don't believe it. How old are you now? You are the same age as me. I am only 16 years old this year. According to what you said, you must have started playing basketball before the age of 6. Junce was too lazy to argue with this guy, and just said lightly, "Is it not possible? Whether you believe it or not has nothing to do with me." "What did you say, a hole?" Sakuragi Hanamichi's veins were exposed, and he looked at Junce with an unhappy face and yelled. Shimizu Kanon quickly tried to smooth things over, saying, "What Ace said is true. He started playing basketball when he was very young and has been playing until now." Ho ho ho. Mitsuyoshi Anze smiled and said, "In that case, you will play in the second half." Junce didn't have any objection to this. He just yawned and said, "Okay. Just think of it as a way to exercise your body." Seeing Junce's expression, a big well-shaped mark suddenly appeared on Akagi Tekanori's forehead. He said in a very unhappy tone, "What a cocky guy. I'll teach this brat a lesson later." Kagure Kiminobu smiled awkwardly, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. When Sakuragi Hanamichi heard that Junce was going to play, he was unhappy. He immediately came to the big Mitsuyoshi Anze, then stretched out his hand and pinched Mitsuyoshi Anze's round chin and said, "Dad, you let the lazy guy play, why don't you let me play too?" Bang! Akagi Takenori punched Sakuragi Hanamichi on the head and scolded him, "Behave yourself and practice honestly." No. I want to go on the court, I want to play. Sakuragi Hanamichi yelled, just like a throwing tantrum. Seeing him like this, Kagure Kiminobu also stepped forward to persuade him, why not let Sakuragi play? After all, the practice match is also to test the strength of the newcomers. Hearing this, Akagi Takenori hesitated. He came to Mitsuyoshi Anze, pointed at Sakuragi Hanamichi and said, Coach Anze, he has just started playing basketball and is still practicing the basics. His character is also a bit problematic. While he was talking, Sakuragi Hanamichi sneaked up behind Akagi Takenori, holding a basketball in his hand and started to move it between his crotch and around his body at a speed that was dazzling. Seeing Sakuragi Hanamichi's look, Coach Anze's glasses flashed a white light, and then he nodded and said, it's quite interesting, let him try it. The happiest person to hear the coach agree was Sakuragi Hanamichi. He started laughing with his head back, a look of surprise on his face, then walked straight to a freshman, snatched the other's jersey and put it on himself. The freshman had a look of resentment on his face, but he didn't dare to say anything. He could only wipe his tears silently like a little wife. Chapter 6. Time passes. Soon it was time for the second half of the game. Qing Junce stood up directly, took off his coat and walked onto the stage. His eyes were half open, still looking sleepy. But the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and his eyes swept across Akagi Takenori and others, finally fixing his gaze on the scoreboard. 29-35. The senior class leads the way. These 29 points were basically scored by Kaed Rukawa alone, and the others were just like wooden sticks. At this moment, Sakuragi Hanamichi said with a smug and confident look on his face, just wait and see how this genius will defeat you. Qing Junce simply ignored this funny guy. He stretched his body and waited for the game to begin. Beep. With a whistle, the second half of the game officially began. The senior students served first. The opponent, led by Akagi Takenori and Kagure Kiminobu, attacked very quickly and arrived at Qing Junce's three-point line in the blink of an eye. Akagi Takenori kept walking and saw Kaed Rukawa in front of him preparing to defend himself. He waved and passed the ball to Kagure Kiminobu on the side. Watch me! Sakuragi Hanamichi suddenly stepped on the ground, like an arrow shot from a bow, and in the blink of an eye he stood in front of Kagure Kiminobu. This sudden scene frightened Kagure Kiminobu so much that he stopped his advance. Others were also very surprised when they saw this scene. No one expected that Sakuragi Hanamichi's explosive power would be so strong. However, Sakuragi Hanamichi had just started playing basketball. Kagure Kiminobu deceived Sakuragi Hanamichi's attention with a fake move, and then took the opportunity to throw the ball into the basket again. At the same time, Akagi Takenori used his strong body to push Kaed Rukawa away, then forced his way into the restricted area, jumped directly to catch the basketball flying in the air, and was about to dunk it towards the basket. The first-year students all looked shocked and exclaimed, "It's an aerial relay!" Kaed Rukawa also fixed his gaze. Sakuragi Hanamichi's eyes almost popped out of his head, as if he had already imagined the outcome of this goal. Just when everyone thought that the ball would be dunked by Akagi Takenori, a hand suddenly appeared and slapped the basketball out of Akagi Takenori's hand. Akagi Takenori's pupils suddenly shrank, and his face was full of disbelief. The others were also in a daze. They looked at Qing Junce, who blocked Akagi Takenori in astonishment, wondering if they had seen it wrong. Bang! 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 The basketball rolled out of bounds. For a moment, the whole place fell into an eerie silence. Everyone's eyes turned to Qing Junce. Captain Akagi was actually blocked. Ayako, who was off the court, couldn't help but exclaimed when she saw this scene. Coach Anze held a cup of steaming tea in his hand, his eyes fixed on Qing Junce on the court, and the white light on his lenses flashed a few times. Kagure Kiminobu also opened his mouth wide, his heart was filled with shock. This guy can actually block Akagi head-on. The game continues. Because the basketball was out of bounds, the ball still belongs to the senior class. The senior side serves. The ball was passed to Akagi Takenori. But before the basketball fell into Akagi Takenori's hands, a big hand blocked it in the middle. Qing Junce suddenly appeared from the middle and intercepted the pass. Akagi Takenori only felt a gust of wind blowing in front of him, his eyes blurred, and the basketball disappeared. What? Akagi Takenori is shocked and discolored. The others also had dazed expressions on their faces. By the time everyone realized what was happening and looked over, Qing Junce had already dribbled the ball across half-court. This guy! Akagi Takenori was horrified and took a step forward to chase after him, but when he saw Qing Junce had already stepped into his restricted area, he finally stopped. There is no need to chase now. The next moment, Qing Junce made a three-step layup and put the basketball steadily into the basket. The stadium was dead silent at this moment. At this time, the positions of everyone on the court were very strange. There were 9 people standing in one half of the court. There was only one person standing in the other half. This person is naturally Qing Junce. At this moment, everyone looked at Qing Junce as if he were a monster. A question flashed through their minds at the same time. Who am I? Where am I? What just happened? Ayako, who was recording information outside the field, opened her mouth wide, her eyes almost popped out, and she covered her mouth and exclaimed again, "Oh my god! I can't be dazzled! How could he be so fast? He scored a goal in just the blink of an eye." Shimizu Kanon just curled up the corners of her mouth slightly, without much surprise, as if she was already accustomed to Qing Junce's performance. But Mitsuyoshi Anze, who was sitting nearby, stood up at some point, and stared at Qing Junce on the field with his eyes shining white under his lenses. His face, which had always remained nonchalant, now showed a look of shock. His heart was very uneasy, and he secretly exclaimed, "What an amazing talent! I'm afraid it's better than Guzii, oh no, even Guzii can't compare to this child. It's really a rare talent in the world." He sat back on the stool, his eyes filled with thought and expectation. On the court, everyone was shocked by Qing Junce's sudden goal. Especially Kaed Rukawa, his eyes were fixed on Qing Junce, and an irrepressible fighting spirit began to surge in his body. Just now, even he could only vaguely catch a glimpse of the trajectory. By the time he found Qing Junce's figure, the opponent had already jumped up and made a layup. He felt the aura of a strong man from Qing Junce. Kagure Kiminobu swallowed and said with a stammer, "When did he go there? I didn't even notice it." Akagi Takenori stood there, also looking at Qing Junce in a daze. He was extremely uneasy at the moment. From the time Qing Junce stole the basketball to the time he scored, it only took him a turn of his head. In such a short time, the opponent had already run to the penalty area and made a layup. Is this the speed a human can run? Qing Junce turned around at this time, looked at the people staring at him calmly, and said, "Isn't this the only thing you can do?" Hearing this, Akagi Takenori's face suddenly darkened, and he said in a deep voice, "What an arrogant boy!" The senior side served again. This time it was Akagi Takenori who charged forward with the ball himself. He deliberately looked in the direction where Qing Junce was. For some reason, after being intercepted before, he unconsciously became wary of Qing Junce. After dribbling across the midline, Akagi Takenori was intercepted by Kaed Rukawa. After the entire first half of the fight, the two of them also had a certain understanding of each other, and they became much more cautious in attack and defense. Akagi Takenori did not break forward, but looked for an opportunity to pass the basketball. He knew that his speed and skills were no match for Kaed Rukawa, so he would not give the opponent a chance to get close. He turned around and shot from behind, using his body to block Kaed Rukawa's view. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he raised his hand and passed the basketball over Kaed Rukawa. The basketball flew directly to Kagure Kiminobu outside the three-point line. But just as the basketball was about to fall into Kagure Kaiminobu's hands, a figure suddenly appeared and caught the basketball flying in the air one step ahead. Everyone was shocked to see this figure. The person who caught the basketball one step ahead was none other than Sakuragi Hanamichi. No one expected this sudden scene. Shimizu Kanon, who was watching this scene from the sidelines, was also somewhat surprised and murmured, "This classmate has great talent, with strong explosive power and jumping ability. If he is trained, he will definitely be a reliable player." Hearing her analysis, Mitsuyoshi Anzai at the side became interested and asked, "Oh, Shimizu-san is very optimistic about Sakuragi. You can accurately analyze Sakuragi's characteristics just by taking a glance. It seems that you know a lot about basketball." Hearing this, Shimizu Kanon just chuckled and said, "It's okay. Because I used to watch ACE play basketball a lot, so over time I also learned some things about basketball." Ayako asked curiously, "You said you often watched Qing Junce play basketball? But why haven't you heard of his name? With the strength he just showed, he shouldn't be unknown." "What are you talking about?" Shimizu Kanon paused, then said, "Because Ace and I used to live in Hokkaido and just came back recently. And when he was in elementary school and junior high school, for some reasons, Ace didn't join the school basketball team. I just accompanied him to some local baseball fields to play. So that's how it is." Ayako nodded thoughtfully. Just as they were discussing Qing Junce, something unexpected happened on the field. Sakuragi Hanamichi stole the ball and rushed to the opponent's basket. Everyone was amazed at his brisk speed and skillful dribbling. It is surprising that Sakuragi Hanamichi, who has just started playing basketball, does not look awkward at all when dribbling the ball. Akagi Takenori and Kagure Kiminobu were also surprised, but also happy at the same time. At the rate Sakuragi Hanamichi is improving, I believe he will be able to play in the game soon. Under everyone's attention, Sakuragi Hanamichi stepped directly into the restricted area, then jumped into the air, held the basketball in his hands and dunked towards the basket. Chapter 7. Akagi Takenori would certainly not allow Sakuragi Hanamichi to dunk easily, so he jumped up to intercept. However, I don't know if it was due to the distance or if Sakuragi Hanamichi did it on purpose. As Sakuragi Hanamichi swung the ball, it did not go into the basket, but hit the edge of the basket and then bounced out of Sakuragi Hanamichi's palm. Sakuragi Hanamichi's palm continued to smash downward under the force of the dunk. The next moment, everyone heard a pop sound. Sakuragi Hanamichi's palm hit Akagi Takenori's head squarely. This powerful blow caused Akagi Takenori's entire body to fall down suddenly. Finally, there was another bang. Akagi Takenori fell face down on the ground, motionless. The whole place fell into dead silence again. Everyone looked at Akagi Takenori, who was lying on the ground. Everyone could vaguely see a slap mark on Akagi Takenori's head that was emitting white smoke and flashing red light, as if it had been burned by a branding iron. Qing Junce's mouth corners were also twitching. The slap just now was quite loud. He was somewhat skeptical that Akagi Takenori might suddenly go crazy. Just as everyone was worried about Akagi Takenori, who was lying motionless on the ground, Akagi Takenori slowly got up from the ground. Just when everyone was relieved, Akagi Takenori was filled with wisps of black air, his expression was extremely distorted, and he gritted his teeth and strangled Sakuragi Hanamichi's neck with his arm, cursing loudly, "A-hole, you stinky boy, damn it! I will not forgive you this time no matter what I say. I didn't mean it." Sakuragi Hanamichi's face turned red and he struggled in pain. Akagi Takenori couldn't hear anything at this moment and roared, "Damn you, I'm going to kill you. Help! Help! I really didn't mean it." Sakuragi Hanamichi begged for mercy. The scene began to become chaotic. The practice match was also forced to end because of the farce between the two. Qing Junce walked off the field with a helpless look on his face, then picked up his coat and said to Shimizu Kanon, "I guess the game can't go on, Kanon, let's go. As he said this, he yawned. Ah! Qing Shui Kanan quickly stood up and said, Ace, this won't do. We are here to report today. Qing Junce acted as if he hadn't heard it, and said lazily, it's already like this anyway, there's nothing I can do even if I stay. I'm hungry, let's go eat first. Oh? Really? Shimizu Kanan said helplessly. She turned to Ayako and Mitsuyoshi Anze and bowed, then said apologetically, Senior Ayako, Coach Anze, I'm very sorry, this is how Ace is. Please don't take it to heart. I will bring him to training on time tomorrow. After saying that, she quickly turned around and chased after Qing Junce. Ayako looked at Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan, who turned and left, and shook her head in annoyance, saying, Really? Why are there so many problem children this year? They are all so worrying. Anze didn't care about that. He just sat there calmly. He felt his round, fleshy chin, and his eyes behind the lenses were extremely deep. He first looked at Kaed Rukawa, who was practicing shooting alone. Kaed Rukawa is the new force. He then turned his attention to Sakuragi Hanamichi, who was being held in a necklock by Akagi Takenori. Sakuragi Hanamichi is also very interesting and has great potential. Finally, he set his sights on Qing Junce, who was about to walk out of the stadium. Qing Junce. Mitsuyoshi Anze was deep in thought, the white light on his lens flashing again and again, and he secretly said in his heart, what a monster! What a monster! I didn't expect that there is someone with such talent. I just don't know what his true strength is. Although Qing Junce only showed one interception and one attack today. But that extraordinary and unparalleled speed has left an indelible mark in Mitsuyoshi Anze's heart. The next day. Shohoku High School Classroom Building. Class 6, Year 1. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Qing Junce was sleeping soundly on the desk, his chest rising and falling evenly. Kanan Shimizu on the side also had a helpless look on her face. Looking at the teacher with a stern face and a Mediterranean hairstyle on the podium, she didn't know what to do for a moment. She just felt that the energy she spent on school was countless times more than that of others. She complained in her heart, really, Usse sleeps like this every day, why does he usually look listless? The day's classes ended in the blink of an eye. Shimizu Kanan brought Qing Junce to the basketball hall on time. When everyone saw that it was Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan, they all looked at them strangely. They are still a little scared of the strength Qing Junce showed yesterday. Akagi Takenori frowned slightly when he saw that it was Qing Junce, but he didn't say anything. Although he really disliked Qing Junce's lazy look. But Coach Angzi didn't say anything yesterday, so he could only keep his dissatisfaction in his heart. Moreover, the strength demonstrated by Qing Junce yesterday also won his recognition. Although it is still unclear what Qing Junce's true strength is, based on the speed he has shown, he is definitely not a weakling. Naturally, he hopes that his team will be as strong as possible. Compared with his dissatisfaction with Qing Junce, he was more concerned about realizing his dream of dominating the country. When Sakuragi Hanamichi saw that it was Qing Junce, he immediately showed an unhappy expression on his face, and thought to himself, it's this self-righteous guy again. On the other side, Kaed Rukawa's eyes were fixed on Qing Junce. There was a fighting spirit in his eyes. Of course, he also saw Qing Junce's performance yesterday. He originally wanted to have a 1v1 fight with Qing Junce. It's just that Qing Junce left too quickly yesterday and he didn't make it in time. Now that he saw Qing Junce, he naturally would not let go of this opportunity. Without paying attention to others, Kaed Rukawa went straight to Qing Junce. He said with great fighting spirit, let's have a fight. The people around were also shocked by Kaed Rukawa's action. Kaed Rukawa actually took the initiative to challenge Qing Junce. No one interrupted, but just watched the development of the situation silently. They also wanted to know how Qing Junce would respond to Kaed Rukawa's challenge. At the same time, they also want to see how strong Qing Junce is. After all, they only saw Qing Junce score a goal yesterday and did not see the whole process. Therefore, they still have certain doubts and curiosity about Qing Junce's strength. Qing Junce just glanced at Kaed Rukawa, then used his little finger to pick his ear and said lightly, "I don't want it. You are too weak." When these words were spoken, everyone in the audience was shocked. Everyone around looked at Qing Junce in disbelief. They didn't expect Qing Junce to say that. How arrogant of him to say such words to Kaed Rukawa. Who is Kaed Rukawa? That person is known as a super rookie. He is the MVP of junior high school. Such a person was actually said to be too weak by Qing Junce. Everyone thought Qing Junce was being too arrogant. Kaed Rukawa was also angered by Qing Junce's contemptuous attitude towards him. His face was stern, his eyes were sharper, and he asked, "Are you scared?" "Oh?" Qing Junce raised his eyebrows, looked at Rukawa in front of him, and said lightly, "Provocation will not work on me." He took no notice of the provocation. But he seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly changed the subject, and continued, "But I will play with you. It's annoying to be provoked all the time." Kaed Rukawa didn't care about Qing Junce's words, he only knew that Qing Junce accepted his challenge. Shimizu Kanan on the side looked at Qing Junce strangely. With his understanding of Qing Junce, he would not care about such provocation at all. But this time, his childhood sweetheart behaved out of character. She blinked and a thoughtful look appeared on her face. Just then, Ayako's voice rang in her ears. "Is this really okay?" Ayako said with some concern as she looked at Kaed Rukawa and Qing Junce walking towards the court. She still understands Kaed Rukawa's character. But Qing Junce was not sure. But after meeting yesterday, she could also see that Qing Junce was not an easy person to deal with. She was worried that something bad might happen between the two. Shimizu Kanan saw Ayako's worry and said, "It's okay. When it comes to basketball, Ace is very serious." Chapter 8. Soon, Qing Junce and Kaed Rukawa were on the court. The others stood outside the venue, quietly waiting for the duel between the two to begin. At this time, Kagure Kiminobu, who looked curious, said, "Akagi, who do you think will win between the two of them?" Akagi Takenori was silent for a while after hearing this, and then slowly said, "Who knows, they are not the kind of people who can be worry-free." First-year student Kuwata Toki spoke up, "I think Kaed Rukawa's chance of winning should be higher. After all, he's a super rookie." Fellow first-year students Yamada Tadashi and Ishii Kentaro also nodded in agreement. They are all from the same class as Kaed Rukawa, so naturally they know more about Kaed Rukawa. Ayako has a different opinion and said, "Not necessarily. Kaed Rukawa is very strong, but Qing Junce gives me a very special feeling." After saying that, she also asked Shimizu Kanan who was standing beside her, "Kane, what do you think?" Shimizu Kanan showed a confident smile and said with certainty, "Ace will not lose." Her words were firm and decisive, without any hesitation. Ayako looked at her in surprise and said, "Are you so confident that he will win?" Shimizu Kanan replied directly, "Of course. Ace has never lost before." She has absolute confidence in Qing Junce's ability. She had once seen Qing Junce crush 5 adults by himself. From that time on, she truly understood how powerful her childhood sweetheart was. Sakuragi Hanamichi crossed his arms and looked at the two people preparing to face off on the court. He was very unhappy and cursed in his heart, "Humph, 2 bastards who only know how to steal the limelight." As he cursed in his heart, his eyes suddenly lit up, as if he had thought of something, and a wicked smile suddenly appeared on his face. On the court, Qing Junce and Kaed Rukawa stood opposite each other. Kaed Rukawa said, "Who goes first?" Qing Junce replied nonchalantly, "Let you attack first. I don't have that much time to play with you." Hearing his words, Kaed Rukawa frowned, his face darkened again, and the anger and fighting spirit in his heart became stronger. He didn't say anything, just took the basketball and got into an offensive stance. Junce also bent down at this time, waiting for Rukawa's attack. However, his listless appearance did not change at all. This made Rukawa even angrier, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He was determined to teach this arrogant guy a lesson. Bang! 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 The sound of basketballs hitting the ground began to be heard in the stadium. Rukawa was slapping the basketball, his eyes fixed on Junce in front of him, his eyes as sharp as an eagle. Everyone on the sidelines held their breath and stared at the two people on the field. Soon, the sound of the basketball hitting the ground stopped, and Rukawa's attack began. With a bang, Rukawa switched the basketball to his left hand, but his whole body shot out like a sharp arrow. In just a blink of an eye, Rukawa had already moved half of his body to the left side of Junce. So fast! When the people outside the venue saw this scene, they all widened their eyes and were amazed in their hearts. Rukawa's sudden breakthrough was really too fast. Only Shimizu Kanan's face showed no sign of surprise. Just when everyone thought Rukawa was going to break through Junce. The next moment. Snap! The sound of a ball hitting the ball rang out in the stadium. Although the sound was not loud, everyone watching outside could hear it very clearly. When everyone came to their senses, they saw an incredible scene on the field. I saw that Rukawa had come behind Junce. His movements came to an abrupt halt and he froze there. The strange thing is that his palms are empty at this moment. The basketball disappeared without a trace. He looked at his palm in disbelief, his heart shaking. He didn't even notice when the basketball disappeared. He slowly turned his head and looked at Junce behind him. At this moment, Junce still looked lazy, but there was a basketball in his hand. What just happened? Kagure Kiminobu asked in astonishment. Not only him, even Akagi Takenori was looking at the field with confusion and shock. Just now his attention was completely attracted by Rukawa who was breaking through. He didn't notice Junce's actions at all and had no idea when the basketball was intercepted. Ayako's mouth opened and her beautiful eyes widened. She exclaimed in shock, "Oh my god! I am not seeing things." When Rukawa made a breakthrough just now, she deliberately focused some of her attention on Junce. Even so, she didn't see clearly when Junce made his move. Too fast. The eyes can hardly catch it. At this moment, Junce turned around, without any movement of his feet, he just raised the basketball with one hand, then aimed at the basket in front of him and threw it directly. The action was extremely casual, as if it was thrown randomly. But even so, in front of everyone, the basketball hit the backboard directly and then bounced into the basket. This scene made everyone stunned. Junce ignored the gazes of others and said to Rukawa, "One goal, keep going." Rukawa's expression was grim, his face becoming increasingly solemn, the fighting spirit in his eyes almost overflowing. He didn't say anything, but picked up the basketball, then turned and walked to the three-point line, standing in front of Junce again. This time, his expression became a little more serious than before. The two were once again caught in a standoff. Rukawa slapped the basketball, his eyes fixed on Junce's every move. He wanted to find flaws in Junce. What made him a little troubled was that Junce's lazy appearance was full of flaws. But because of this, he was in hesitation for a moment. He didn't believe that these flaws would allow him to break through easily. Seeing Rukawa was slow to attack, Junce was also getting impatient. Without any warning, he rushed forward and appeared in front of Rukawa almost instantly. Rukawa only felt that Junce in front of him suddenly began to enlarge, and then came in front of him. So fast! His heart skipped a beat, and then he subconsciously tried to protect the ball. Unfortunately, before he could protect the ball, his hands felt empty. His pupils shrank and his heart sank, knowing that he had been intercepted again. Qing Junce successfully stole the basketball and turned around. He took advantage of Rukawa's lack of time to react and went around from his left to his right. The whole process can be said to be completed in one go, without giving Rukawa any chance to react. The people outside the field only saw Qing Junce rushing directly in front of Rukawa, and then quickly circled around Rukawa. These actions are completed in an instant without any pause, giving people a very smooth sense of vision. When everyone came to their senses, Qing Junce had returned to the basket and was ready to make a layup. Inside the stadium, Qing Junce raised the ball with one hand and prepared to put it into the basket. But at this moment, a sharp light suddenly flashed in Qing Junce's eyes. His hand that was raising the ball for a layup suddenly paused in mid-air, and then he pulled it straight back. At the same time, a basketball flashed past the basketball in his hand. Qing Junce flicked his wrist, and the basketball flew up and fell right into the basket. The basketball went into the net again. But at this moment, Qing Junce's eyes were looking behind the basket. There, Sakuragi Hanamichi was pretending to throw something. Others also noticed this sudden scene and turned their eyes to Sakuragi Hanamichi. Seeing this, Sakuragi Hanamichi pretended to laugh awkwardly and said, "Ah ha 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 ha. Sorry, my hand slipped." Qing Junce looked at him and said nothing, turned around and said directly to Rukawa, "Go on." Rukawa didn't say anything either. He usually ignores Sakuragi Hanamichi's behavior if possible. Soon, Qing Junce and Rukawa began competing for the third ball. Chapter 9. Just when Qing Junce and Rukawa were having a one-on-one match, 3 girls in Shohoku uniforms walked in from the main entrance of the gym. Because of their standing positions, Ayako and Shimizu Kanan were able to notice this side out of the corner of their eyes. They both looked towards the door. "It's you." Ayako saw the people coming and was the first to greet them. The 3 girls at the door said in unison, "Ayako-senpai." Shimizu Kanan glanced at the 3 girls. Naturally, she did some research before joining the Shohoku basketball club. She also searched for information about the 3 girls in front of her in her mind. Among the 3 girls, the most outstanding one is standing in the middle. She has long black hair, skin as white as jade, a very sweet appearance, a straight nose, eyes as watery as stars, and her whole body reveals the youth and vitality unique to this age. This girl's name is Akagi Haruko. She is also the captain of the Shohoku basketball team, Akagi Tekinorai's sister. The girls standing on both sides of Akagi Haruko are Akagi Haruko's 2 best friends. The one on the left has short black hair and a red hairpin on her head. Although she is not as sweet and cute as Akagi Haruko, she also has a unique and quiet temperament. This person is one of Akagi Haruko's best friends, named Fujii. Standing to the right of Akagi Haruko is her other best friend. She had orange hair that was completely different from the other 2, and was tied into 2 ponytails. For some reason, she looks very similar to Akagi Takenori. Especially her lips, which cannot be said to be similar to Akagi Tekinorai's, but can only be said to be exactly the same. If you don't know the inside story, you will definitely mistake her for Akagi Tekinorai's biological sister. She is also one of Akagi Haruko's best friends, named Matsui. Akagi, Haruko, and the other 2 naturally also noticed Shimizu Kanan beside Ayako. Ayako greeted enthusiastically, "I heard from my brother that there is a new manager in the basketball team. I think it's you." "Hi, my name is Akagi Haruko." Shimizu Kanan also responded with a smile, "Hello, my name is Shimizu Kanan, just call me Kanan from now on." "Hey? Are you guys playing a game?" Akagi Haruko couldn't help but ask when he saw Qing Junce and Rukawa facing off on the field. Ayako explained, "It's not a competition. It's a one-on-one duel between Rukawa and Qing Junce. Now is the crucial moment." "Ah? One-on-one? With Rukawa?" Akagi Haruko was shocked. Rukawa is his dream man. She wanted to see who was fighting Rukawa. He quickly looked towards the court, and then saw the two figures standing on the court, dominating the court. One of them she was very familiar with, it was her dream man, Kaed Rukawa. The other one was very strange, she had never seen it before. The one who dueled Kaed Rukawa is... Akagi Haruko asked subconsciously. Ayako explained, you mean Qing Junce. He's also a freshman this year, and he joined together with Kanan. Ah? Akagi Haruko blinked. Is that so? But what she was more concerned about was the match on the field. What's their situation now? Who won? Hearing Akagi Haruko's question, Ayako replied, it's not over yet. But Kaed Rukawa is at a disadvantage now. What? Akagi Haruko's eyes widened in disbelief. Kaed Rukawa was actually at a disadvantage. You know, Kaed Rukawa is the MVP of junior high school and is called this year's super rookie by the media. Such a person is actually at a disadvantage. How strong will Qing Junce be when facing Kaed Rukawa? Her eyes unconsciously moved to Qing Junce. What caught her eye was naturally Qing Junce's handsome appearance with unique blue hair and blue eyes. But Qing Junce's lazy and weak appearance made her feel very strange. Can such a person really suppress Kaed Rukawa? But the next second, her eyes almost popped out. I saw that the two people who were just confronting each other on the court began to take action. Kaed Rukawa kept switching hands and dribbling the ball left and right, trying to disrupt Qing Junce's judgment. But Qing Junce was indifferent to this and just stood there quietly. Kaed Rukawa frowned slightly, but did not stop. He kicked his feet and instantly turned sideways. With quick, accurate, and ruthless movements, he went straight to the right side of Qing Junce and tried to break through. So fast! Seeing this scene, Akagi Haruko's heart was moved and the blood began to churn in his body. But the next moment, the hot blood in her body that was about to boil suddenly calmed down. On the court, Kaed Rukawa, who was expected to break through, suddenly stopped. His front was completely blocked by Qing Junce, leaving no room for a breakthrough. Kaed Rukawa's eyes sank slightly, he gritted his teeth, turned quickly, and broke through to the empty space on the left side of Qing Junce again. But the next moment, Qing Junce appeared in front of him again, blocking his way. So, in the following period of time, Kaed Rukawa tried many methods to break through. Fake moves, sudden stops, changing hands, back to the basket shots, and all kinds of breakthrough and deceptive tactics all ended in failure. Akagi Haruko was completely stunned watching what was happening on the field. How could it be? I can't break through. It was the first time she saw Kaed Rukawa being truly suppressed. And it was suppressed so thoroughly. Snap! The sound of a ball bouncing reached everyone's ears. On the court, Kaed Rukawa's ball was once again intercepted by Qing Junce. Everyone was already accustomed to this scene, or had been mentally prepared. But Akagi, Haruko, and the other two who had just arrived were shocked again. Kaed Rukawa was actually intercepted. Akagi Haruko's eyes were full of disbelief. Qing Junce naturally didn't care what people outside the venue were thinking. After he stole the ball, without any unnecessary movements, he simply turned around and jumped, aiming the ball at the basket. Seeing this scene, Kaed Rukawa, who was preparing to defend Qing Junce, was also shocked. He didn't expect Qing Junce to be so decisive. He quickly jumped up and stretched out his hand to intercept it, but it was too late. Qing Junce threw the basketball in his hand one step ahead. But at this moment, a basketball suddenly appeared and happened to hit the basketball he threw. This sudden scene shocked everyone. No one expected that something unexpected would happen. Ha 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 ha. Not far away, Sakuragi Hanamichi, who had succeeded, put his hands on his hips and looked up, laughing, I hit it, but it didn't go in. Idiot, you want to steal the limelight from this genius? Dream on. Sakuragi. Seeing this, Akagi Haruko covered his mouth in disbelief. The people around were all frowning. Kagure Kiminobu also held his forehead, not knowing what to say. Especially Akagi Takenori, the veins on his forehead were about to bleed. That BD. Ayako sighed helplessly and shook her head, that guy is here again. At this moment, Shimizu Kanan's face still looked calm and composed, and she was not at all disturbed by this sudden accident. She has enough confidence in Qing Junce. This kind of accident poses no threat to Qing Junce at all. As expected. On the court. When Qing Junce found that his basketball was hit by another basketball, he reacted immediately. His body sank and fell immediately like a weight. The moment his feet touched the ground, he jumped up again. He stretched out his arms, holding two basketballs in the air at the same time, and then threw them one after the other into the basket in front of him. Under the confused, stunned, and incredible gazes of the people around, two basketballs hit the backboard one after another. The first ball fell accurately into the net. The second ball spun around the rim and then fell into the net. The entire basketball hall was silent at this moment. Chapter 10. Sakuragi Hanamichi was also shocked by the scene before him. He stopped smiling and stood there in a daze. On the second floor of the basketball hall, Sakuragi's gang, who had arrived at some point, also saw this scene. They were also dumbfounded, with their mouths open. When everyone was stunned, Qing Junce turned around and looked at Kaed Rukawa and said, "Do you want to continue?" Kaed Rukawa came back to his senses. Although there was reluctance in his eyes, his fighting spirit became stronger. Of course he wouldn't give up just like that. He was about to speak when suddenly a voice reached everyone's ears. "It looks like everyone is here." Everyone looked over and saw Coach Anze standing on the sidelines without knowing when. Mitsuyoshi Anze still had a kind smile on his face, stroking his chubby chin. Everyone in the basketball club said in unison, "Coach Anze." At this time, Sakuragi Hanamichi came to Mitsuyoshi Anze, stretched out his hand unceremoniously and began to pull Mitsuyoshi Anze's chubby chin, and put his other hand on Mitsuyoshi Anze's fat belly, and said shamelessly, "Dad, you are finally here. Look at Kaed Rukawa and Qing Junce, they actually occupied the practice field of others to play one-on-one. You have to take care of them. How can the basketball team allow such people to exist?" "Right, Dad. Just kick them out of the basketball team. The basketball team is enough with a genius like me." Bang! A heavy hammer hit Sakuragi Hanamichi's head hard, interrupting his words. Akagi Takenori withdrew his hand angrily, and then said to Mitsuyoshi Anze respectfully, "I'm sorry, Coach Anze, I will punish him severely." Ho 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 ho. Coach Anze smiled and waved his hand, forget it, Akagi, no need." Akagi Takenori nodded respectfully, "Yes." Coach Anze then spoke up again, "I came here today to tell you that I have arranged a practice match for you." When they heard there was a practice match, everyone in the gym became serious and listened quietly. Mitsuyoshi Anze continued, "The opponent for the practice match is Ryonan High School." As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere in the entire basketball hall became silent for a moment. After the silence, there was a cry of surprise. "What? Ryonan High School?" The second and third graders of the basketball team exclaimed in unison. Kagure Kiminobu was a little surprised and said, "Why is it Ryonan? Can we really beat him?" "Ryonan?" Ayako said in surprise. "This is going to be a fight." At this time, first-year student Kuwata Toki asked in confusion, "Why do you all look so surprised? Is Ryonan High School strong?" Kagure Kiminobu explained, "Ryonan High School was one of the top 4 in the county tournament last year." Hearing this, the first graders were shocked again. "Okay, everyone gather!" Akagi Takenori shouted loudly. When everyone had gathered, Mitsuyoshi Anze spoke up, "Everyone should practice before the practice match." "Akagi, I'll leave it to you." "Yes." Akagi Takenori responded. After the practice, Qing Junce left with Shimizu Kanon. Ahaha! Qing Junce yawned and looked listless, and he didn't look like a man who had just finished an intense practice. Seeing his appearance, Shimizu Kanon said helplessly, "Ace, how do you feel? What's going on?" Qing Junce asked lazily. Shimizu Kanon said, "It's a one-on-one duel with Kaed Rukawa. You should be serious." Kaed Rukawa's strength is not weak, but today he was crushed by Qing Junce from beginning to end. If Qing Junce had not been serious, he would not have been able to play so easily against Kaed Rukawa. Qing Junce did not refute, but just said, "Just a little bit serious. That guy's strength is still too weak, I can't take it seriously at all." And he paused, then continued, "You know my situation. Even if I am a little serious, I am only serious under normal circumstances." Hearing this, Shimizu Kane smiled sweetly. Thinking of her childhood sweetheart's playing style. That unpredictable and invincible style of play makes me feel both scared and excited whenever I think of it. Shimizu Kanon asked, "Will you play during the practice match?" Qing Junce replied calmly, "I don't know, let's talk about it later. It's just a practice match, it doesn't matter whether I play or not." "Hey! Everyone will have something against you if you behave like this," Shimizu Kanon advised. Qing Junce said indifferently, "It doesn't matter." "Really?" Shimizu Kanon shook her head helplessly. Just as the two of them were walking out of the campus while chatting, a young man passing by the two stopped. The boy is not tall, about 165 centimeters, and his hairstyle is a bit like a brush. The school uniform he wears is similar to Shohoku, but the word Ryonan is written on the left chest. There is nothing special about his appearance, he is an honest and simple type. It is worth noting that he was holding a pen and a notebook in his hands, as if he was recording something. The boy's name, Aida Hikoichi, appears to be written on the cover of the notebook. He turned to look at the backs of Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanon who were walking away, and muttered, "Strange, I seem to hear Kaed Rukawa's name just now. Is it an illusion?" Shaking his head, the boy turned around again and continued walking towards the Shohoku campus. In the following week, everyone in the Shohoku basketball team conducted various trainings every day under the command of Akagi Takenori. The first-year students also successfully complete their training workload every day. Not to mention people like Qing Junce, Kaed Rukawa, and Sakuragi Hanamichi who have extraordinary physical fitness. This made Akagi Takenori very pleased. There was just one thing that bothered Akagi greatly, and that was Qing Junce's habit of being late. Ever since Qing Junce joined the basketball team, there has not been a single day that he hasn't been late. This makes Akagi Takenori love and hate. There were several times when he wanted to teach Qing Junce a lesson for this guy who had no sense of time. Fortunately, they were all stopped by the good guy Kagure Kiminobu. He was also worried that Akagi Takenori might accidentally anger Qing Junce. If Qing Junce leaves the team, it will be a huge loss for Shohoku. As for Shimizu Kanon, she is much less of a worry. She gets along really well with everyone on the team. First of all, her extremely beautiful appearance has completely fascinated everyone. In addition, she has developed a vision from playing basketball with Qing Junce since she was a child, and she has her own unique insights in observing people's physical data. When she took out everyone's information, everyone present, including Coach Anze, was stunned. Each person's playing habits, things to watch out for, as well as suggested corrections and possible development paths. Every single thing that was seen made everyone gape in amazement and gasp. Everyone also discovered that even Coach Anze's information was there. The only difference from others is that Coach Anze's information contains some precautions regarding physical health. After reading this set of information, Shimizu Kanon completely impressed everyone. At this point, Shimizu Kanon has successfully secured the position of manager of the Shohoku basketball team. She and Ayako have a clear division of labor, one is responsible for internal affairs and the other is responsible for external affairs. The two women also support and complement each other and become the double flower managers of the Shohoku basketball team. Chapter 11. A week later. The morning of the practice match with Ryonan. In front of the gate of Shohoku High School. Everyone from the basketball club has gathered here, except for two people missing, Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan. That BD is late again. Akagi Takenori said with gritted teeth, veins bulging on his forehead. Kagure Kiminobu quickly comforted him, Akagi. Calm down. Qing Junce has been late for a long time. Akagi Takenori said angrily, what are you talking about? If you are late for every game in the future, how can the game continue? Kagure Kiminobu also didn't know what to say for a moment. Sakuragi Hanamichi then interrupted smugly, I told you. Let's just ignore that guy who has no sense of time. Big idiot. Kaed Rukawa said lightly on the side. What did you say? Sakuragi Hanamichi yelled at Kaed Rukawa. Ayako looked at her watch and said helplessly, it's already time, but I didn't expect Kanan to be late too. Just then, Ayako's cell phone suddenly rang. Ayako took out her phone, saw the caller ID, and said, it's Kanan. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately looked over. Ayako answered the phone, and then she heard Shimizu Kanan say on the other end of the phone, I'm so sorry, Ayako. Atsuko is still sleeping. I'll wake him up now. You guys go first. I'll take him to Ryonan High School as soon as possible. After hanging up the phone, Ayako repeated what Shimizu Kanan said to everyone. Akagi Takenori was furious when he heard this, and he wanted to punch Qing Junce on the head. Damn, that BD. Yasuda Yasuharu advised, Captain, okay, Qing Junce is usually like this anyway, you should get used to it. Bang. Before he could finish his words, he was knocked to the ground by Akagi Takenori's punch. Akagi Takenori gritted his teeth and said, okay, let's go now. The other side. Qing Junce's home. Qing Shui Kanan came to Qing Junce's bedroom, shook Qing Junce's body and shouted loudly, Ace, don't sleep anymore. We still have a game today. Hurry up and get up. Qing Junce, who was half asleep, said in a daze, Huanyan, you are so annoying. Don't disturb my sleep. Seeing that Qing Junce refused to get up, Shimizu Kanan thought for a moment, a sly look flashed across her eyes, and then she smiled evilly and said, don't blame me if you don't get up. After saying that, she walked out of the bedroom door. After a while, she came back. At this moment, she was holding a glass of ice water in her hand. A layer of white mist was visibly covering the water cup. Shimizu Kanan directly lifted the quilt and fell towards Qing Junce's neck. The ice water flowed down Qing Junce's neck. In an instant, Qing Junce, who was still unconscious, immediately opened his eyes and shuddered from head to toe. Wow, so cool, so icy, so cold, Qing Junce jumped up from the bed screaming, then looked at Shimizu Kanan who was giggling there with a face full of resentment. Shimizu Kanan said softly, who told you not to get up? We are already late. Everyone has already left. If we don't hurry up, today's practice match will be over. Why? Qing Junce sighed, and then stopped just as he was about to get out of bed. He looked up at Shimizu Kanan. Shimizu Kanan was also looking at him. The two of them stared at each other. Hurry up. Shimizu Kanan urged. Qing Junce looked at Shimizu Kanan and said, I'm going to put on my clothes, do you want to see my body? Hearing this, Qing Shui Kanan's pretty face turned red, then she spat, turned around and said, Who wants to see you? After saying that, she trotted out of the bedroom door. Watching the other person leave, Qing Junce wanted to lie down on the bed and sleep for a while. But thinking that Shimizu Kanan would definitely do something weird again, he could only get up helplessly. After a while, Qing Junce walked out of the bedroom. Shimizu Kanan pointed to the kitchen table and said, I've prepared breakfast, eat quickly, we'll set off after you finish. Oh. Got it. I'll go wash my face first. Junce scratched his head and walked towards the bathroom. Ryonan High School Basketball Hall. Shohoku and his group have arrived here at this moment. Ryonan's coach is Daiki, a middle-aged man who looks to be in his 40s, with a serious face, wearing a green short-sleeved shirt and blue casual trousers. He came to Mitsuyoshi Anze, bowed slightly and said, "Coach Anze, I should have visited you from my side, but I'm sorry that you had to come here specially." Ho 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 ho. Mitsuyoshi Anze smiled and waved his hands nonchalantly, "No, no." Seeing this scene, everyone from Shohoku and Ryonan looked surprised. The first-year students couldn't help but ask, "It seems like our coach is really great." Ayako then explained to everyone, "Of course, our coach was once a great man." Akagi Takenori came up to Daiki, shook his hand and said, "I am the captain of the Shohoku basketball team, Akagi Takenori. Please give me your guidance." "Hello, Akagi, you are too polite." After being polite, Daiki continued, "I heard that our team's Yuzumi has only set his goal of defeating you until now. Akagi, you have to show mercy. I am the captain of the Ryonan basketball team, Uazumi, please give me your guidance." Behind Akagi Takenori, the captain of the Ryonan basketball team, Uazumi, and Mitsuyoshi Anze said. Uazumi's full name is Uazumi. He is over 2 meters tall and has a physique similar to Akagi Takenori. He gives people an invisible sense of oppression just standing there. Akagi Takenori and Uazumi both looked sideways at each other. The two of them faced each other from a distance. It was as if 2 bolts of lightning shot out from their eyes and intertwined in mid-air. At the same time, an invisible aura began to emanate from both of them, pressing towards each other. The Shohoku people and Ryonan team members around were all shocked by the momentum of the 2 captains and couldn't help swallowing. After a long time, the aura of Akagi Takenori and Uazumi slowly subsided. Soon, Shohoku and Ryonan began their pre-match preparations. Shohoku and his group also gathered in their dressing room. Everyone stood in a row, waiting for Coach Anze's lecture. Coach Anze held the member list in his hand and said to everyone, "Now we will start distributing team uniforms." When everyone heard this, they all stood up straight, hoping that they could be assigned a team uniform. Coach Anze glanced around at everyone and began to make his announcement. Center, Akagi, number 4. Shooting guard, Yasuda, number 6. Point guard, Shiozaki, number 8. Small forward, Kagure, number 5. Every time a person is announced, a Yako standing by will distribute the corresponding numbered uniforms to them. Sakuragi Hanamichi, who had been watching, was almost drooling with envy. His eyes lit up as he looked at the team uniforms being distributed to everyone. Then, Coach Anze spoke again, power forward, Kaed Rukawa, number 10. Hearing this, Sakuragi Hanamichi, who had always been at odds with Kaed Rukawa, couldn't help himself. He glared at Kaed Rukawa in the corner with gritted teeth, cursing in his heart, "Damn it, this stinky fox actually got the team uniform before me." Although he was very reluctant, he did not say anything. He suppressed his dissatisfaction and waited for Coach Anze to continue the announcement. Coach Anze then spoke up again, finally. Hearing that it was the last one, Sakuragi Hanamichi's heart suddenly became nervous. He stared at Coach Anze, expecting his name to be spoken by him. He kept repeating in his mind, "Sakuragi. Sakuragi. Sakuragi." Soon, Coach Anze continued, "Qing Junce, no 11. Boom. It was as if a thunderbolt struck Sakuragi Hanamichi's mind. He was suddenly covered by a shadow, and his mind was full of thoughts about why he didn't have a name. He came to his senses and immediately came to Coach Anze, pulling his fat chin and saying, "Dad, why am I not a starter? Why don't I have my jersey? Even Kaed Rukawa and the guy who was late have them, why don't I have one? What's going on?" Stop it, idiot! Akagi Takenori immediately stopped him. You idiot, how can a guy who has just started playing basketball in the past 1 or 2 days become a starter so easily? Sakuragi Hanamichi argued, you lied to me. Didn't you say that whoever controls the rebounds can control the world? Akagi Takenori's face, which was not pale to begin with, turned even darker when he heard this, and he angrily shouted, idiot, it's about controlling the game. Also, even if you're not a starter, you still have a lot of opportunities to play. It's just a substitute anyway. Sakuragi Hanamichi didn't listen at all. The entire locker room was immediately filled with chaos due to Sakuragi Hanamichi's ruckus. Even Ryonan and the others outside the door were confused, not knowing what had happened in the locker room. In the end, Coach Anze calmed Sakuragi Hanamichi down with a secret weapon. At the same time, with the persistence of Sakuragi Hanamichi, he successfully got Kaed Rukawa's number 10 jersey. Kaed Rukawa was naturally changed to number 11, just like in the original work. It is worth mentioning here that the number 11 jersey originally given to Qing Junce was now replaced with the vacant number 9. Chapter 12. Ryonan High School Basketball Hall. At this time, the players of Shohoku and Ryonan were already standing on both sides of the court, waiting for the game to begin. Shohoku's starting lineup is as follows. Nakafu, Akagi Takenori, number 4. Shooting guard, Yasuda Yasuharu, number 6. Point guard, Shiozaka Tetsushi, number 8. Kagure Kiminobu, number 5. Power forward, Kaed Rukawa, number 11. Ryonan's starting lineup is as follows. Center, Uajumi, number 4. Shooting guard, Koshino Hiroaki, number 6. Point guard, Yokusa Tomoyuki, number 8. Small forward, Akira Sendo, number 7. Power forward, Ikegami Ryaji, number 5. Except for the center Yuzumi, everyone else in Ryonan looks ordinary. Except for Ikegami Ryaji, who is over 180 centimeters tall, the rest are between 170 centimeters and 175 centimeters. A special mention must be made of Akira Sendo, who is wearing the number 7 Ryonan jersey. He is one of the only 2 tallest people in the Ryonan team, with a height of over 190 centimeters. He has a delicate and handsome appearance, giving people a unique affinity. Especially his eye-catching hedgehog hair, which stands straight up with every hair standing upright, making him look like a walking broom. Before the game started, cheers could be heard in the stadium. Ryonan, come on, Ryonan, come on, defeat Shohoku. Shohoku Lounge Area. When everyone heard the cheers from the Ryonan cheerleading team, it felt like a stone was pressing down on everyone's heart. First-year student Tadashi Yamada couldn't help but say, the people from Ryonan look so impressive. Kuwata Toki also said uncertainly, we should be fine, right? Ishii Kentaro asked, is that man Sendo? Is he very powerful? Kagure Kiminobu explained, it's not a question of how good he is. Sendo was recognized as one of the best players last year and was called Genius Sendo. If it weren't for Shoyo and Kanan, Ryonan would have made it to the national competition last year. Hearing this, all the first-year members' expressions changed again and again. Kaed Rukawa also turned his attention to Sendo, and a hint of fighting spirit began to burn in his eyes. At this moment, Sakuragi Hanamichi took the initiative to come to Sendo. He stared straight at Sendo and said, I, Sakuragi Hanamichi, am a secret weapon, Sendo, and I will take care of you. Hearing this, Sendo raised his eyebrows. The rest of Ryonan also looked at this scene in amazement. How dare this guy say that? Koshino Hiroaki from Ryonan's team said with an unhappy look on his face. Yokusa Tomoyuki also spoke up, does he know who he is talking to? Akagi Takenori's eyelids twitched. That idiot! Even Ayako, who was outside the arena, had a worried, sad, and helpless look on her face. That kid, really? Just when everyone was shocked by Sakuragi Hanamika's words, Sendo smiled and said slowly, "Then please give me your guidance." "Okay." Sakuragi Hanamichi shook hands with Sendo. The competition officially begins. At the same time, 3 girls also hurriedly ran in from the second floor of the gym. The 3 girls were none other than Akagi Haruko and his 2 best friends, Fujii and Matsui. "We're finally here." Akagi Haruko wiped the sweat from his forehead and said with relief. "It's all your fault, otherwise we wouldn't have to run." Matsui complained. Akagi Haruko blushed and said a little embarrassedly, "Don't say that. Kaed Rukawa. I love you. Kaed Rukawa. I love you. Kaed Rukawa. I love you." At this moment, a burst of uniform cheering reached everyone's ears. Akagi Haruko and the other 2 turned their heads and saw 3 girls in miniskirt cheerleading uniforms, waving handkerchiefs, raising their long white legs high, and cheering for Kaed Rukawa. This scene also stunned everyone in the stadium. Fujii and Matsui pulled Akagi Haruko aside. Fujii whispered, "Please don't do something stupid like that." Akagi Haruko looked shy and replied weakly, "I wouldn't be like that." Matsui stared with dead fish eyes, and said in disbelief, "Woman, you. It's hard to say." Beep. Just as the 3 women were talking, the game off the court officially started. With a whistle, the referee threw the basketball high into the air between the 2 teams. Akagi Takenori and Uazumi pushed off the ground at the same time, jumped high into the air, and grabbed the basketball that was about to fall in the air. The other side. On a train heading to Ryonan High School. Ha 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 ha. The 3 hooligans laughed wildly, ignoring the other people in the car. One of the hooligans said proudly, "After I beat him up, I said." "What?" another gangster asked hurriedly. Then the gangster continued, "I told you, it's not hard to fight. I'm always ready to fight you." "Wow! That's so cool." After that, the 3 hooligans started laughing unscrupulously again. Other people in the car cast timid and contemptuous looks at him, intentionally or unintentionally. Many girls and women unconsciously tightened their bodies, fearing that they would be noticed by these 3 thugs. At this moment, 2 figures walked in from the car door. The first person to walk in was a beautiful girl with a charming figure and full of youthfulness. When the 3 gangsters saw the person coming, their eyes instantly widened and turned into heart shapes, as if they wanted to stare at the beautiful girl in front of them. However, in the next second, a shadow enveloped the 3 gangsters. Behind the girl, there was a young man with a tall and straight figure, exuding an indelible wildness. The 3 gangsters felt a strong sense of oppression and deadly danger from the young man. The 3 gangsters couldn't help but start shaking all over. The boy and girl who walked in were none other than Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan. Qing Junce saw that the road ahead was blocked by 3 gangsters, and he said calmly, "Get out of the way." The 3 thugs swallowed and subconsciously made way. Shimizu Kanan is no longer surprised by such things. Seeing the 3 gangsters make way, she pulled Qing Junce and walked between them. The 3 hooligans just looked at Qing Junce and the other 2, not daring to say a word. The 3 gangsters finally breathed a sigh of relief after Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan walked away. One of the gangsters said, "That guy is so scary, I thought I was going to die just now." Another thug said, "Didn't you say fighting wasn't difficult?" The appearance of Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan naturally attracted the attention of many people in the carriage. They were all attracted by the looks of Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan. The man naturally focused his attention on Shimizu Kanan. The woman also began to appreciate Qing Junce's appearance. Qing Junce and Shimizu Kanan have long been accustomed to this kind of looks from people around them. Shimizu Kanan glanced at the time on her phone and complained, "Really? It's been so long. It's all your fault. Now I don't know how the game is going." Qing Junce said lazily, "It's still early, even if it's bad, it won't be a big loss." "No. It's too much for you to say that. They are your teammates. Shimizu Kanon said seriously. Cut. Qing Junce snorted and said nothing more. At this moment, the match between Ryonan and Shohoku has become one-sided. Nearly half of the first half of the game has passed. The score on the scoreboard now reads 0-19. Ryonan scored 19 points. Shohoku didn't score a single point. At this moment, all the Shohoku players on the court were breathing heavily, with sweat dripping down their foreheads, and their faces were full of disbelief and despair. They never expected that the match with Ryonan would end like this. Although they knew that Ryonan would be strong, they didn't expect him to be this strong. Because basketball games in this era are divided into two halves, each half lasts 20 minutes. Therefore, the Shohoku players who are playing on the field at this moment are not only physically exhausted, but also under tremendous mental pressure. It's Ryonan's turn to attack. Yukyusa Tomoyuki broke through Shiozaka Tetsushi's defense and successfully reached the Shohoku three-point line. Just as Kagure Kiminobu was about to go over to block, Yukyusa Tomoyuki made a long pass and threw the basketball into Shohoku's penalty area. At this moment, a man wearing the number 7 Ryonan jersey appeared in Shohoku's penalty area. It was Sendo. Not good. When everyone at Shohoku saw this, their hearts were in their throats. Now they are 19 points behind, and if the opponent scores again, they will be 20 points behind Ryonan. Although there is only a 1-point difference between 19 points and 20 points, the pressure they bring to the team is worlds apart. Just when everyone thought that this goal was beyond redemption, a red figure suddenly appeared and intercepted the basketball before Sendo. What? Sendo's pupils widened. The rest of Ryonan also looked shocked. The person who intercepted the basketball in advance was none other than Kaed Rukawa. Kaed Rukawa fell back to the ground, holding the ball with both hands, looking forward, and seemed to say to Sendo behind him intentionally, "Okay, let's go." Sendo narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this. The next moment, Kaed Rukawa took off directly and dribbled quickly towards Ryonan's basket. Sendo was not willing to be outdone and started to chase after him. Kaed Rukawa dribbled the ball past Yukyusa Tomoyuki and Koshino Hiroaki and entered Ryonan's penalty area. However, just as Kaed Rukawa jumped up to make a layup, Sendo suddenly shot out, caught up with him from the side, and blocked Kaed Rukawa's layup with one hand. Kaed Rukawa stared straight ahead, his expression unchanged. I saw that his layup action suddenly changed and he threw the basketball backwards from the other side. This sudden scene made Sendo's eyes widen. At the same time, Akagi Takenori appeared quietly behind Kaed Rukawa and caught the basketball thrown by Kaed Rukawa. Without any pause, he jumped high, then held the ball with both hands and slammed it hard towards Ryonan's basket. Clang! The sound